Hello there, folks. This is another video from Sandy Talk of Thailand. Today's video is a continuation from the last video I made when I was talking about YouTube and my experiences to date. For those that were interested, I want to tell you about how you need to set out and create your first video and what equipment you actually are going to require to do that. Basically how to get started, I think. So what you need is, you obviously need some sort of video capture device, a camera of some sort. You may or may not need a microphone, depending on what sort of camera you're using. You may or may not need a tripod. So that's the basics to get started. And I would suggest that just to get you started, you go out and make a couple of, whatever you're thinking about doing, you make a couple of videos just to make sure that you've got the equipment on hand that you want to use. Now then, let me tell you about what I did. When I first thought about it, I was watching a lot of these guys out filming around Pattaya, etc., and I thought, well, some of them were doing a pretty pathetic job about it, actually, and they were obviously using cameras that they had no stabilization to them, so they sort of jumped around all the time. When they were walking, they were going up and down as they were walking along. And I thought, well, there's got to be a better way of doing it. And then I watched some others who were using action cameras like the GoPro, and they were, what a phenomenal difference. Now, so I decided right away, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need an action camera, because I don't want to be doing it all in one thing, sitting in a kitchen. That might be different for you. You might be doing food, or you might be doing something on your computer, or doing some the various things where you don't need to go out, and the camera doesn't need to be moving around. It can be fairly static or on a tripod. So it all really depends what you're doing. But I decided I needed a GoPro. And that was my first mistake, actually. And I'll tell you about that very shortly. And then I also thought about it, well, maybe I'm going to need a microphone, but I'm not too sure on that. So I went out and I bought a GoPro. I bought a GoPro Hero Black 8. I forget what it cost me. I think they're now up to the GoPro Hero 11 or something like that. But the 8 is still a very good buy, and you can probably buy a decent second-hand one for a lot less than you pay for the 9 or 10 or even the 11. And from what I see, there's not any huge advantages to the more advanced models. If you're just getting off to a basic start, I would suggest, if you want to buy an action camera, get something like the GoPro Hero 8. It's an excellent camera. There is a few things I would buy with it. I would try to get with it, and I'll tell you about them in a moment also. But anyway, I got my GoPro Hero 8, and I went out, and I thought, let's do something. And I think we drove out to some reservoir somewhere around about, and I walked around the reservoir and took the video. And then when I came back, I sat down, put it on my computer, and then I downloaded it to my computer. And then I watched it, and then I thought, right, if I'm going to use this GoPro, I think I definitely need some sort of a microphone with this. But there was an accessory that you can buy for the GoPro Hero 8, and it's like a multimedia case. There's a disadvantage to it, that if you put the camera in the case, it takes away its waterproofness. The camera itself is no longer waterproof, as it is if it's in the standard mode with its proper little door on the side where the battery is. You got to take that door off, the small waterproof door off, to connect it into the multimedia case. But I bought one of these cases, and that was quite expensive as well. Just the basic case with the adapter that not only did it give you a microphone, but it also gave you the ability to connect a microphone also through a microphone jack plug. But I found that the microphone on the multimedia case was very good anyway, and it was sufficient for what I wanted to do. So let me go back and tell you about some of the mistakes here when I got the GoPro. Well, the first one is I had already recently before that purchased a very good telephone, a mobile telephone. I bought the Samsung S20, and this applies to the Samsung S10, both of which are age models now, but these are super phones if you want to make videos with your mobile phone, as is the iPhone, I believe, as well. I don't particularly like iPhones, but I've been watching the comparisons they've been making on YouTube about iPhone 11 to the Samsung telephones, etc., which is a lot of BS anyway, and I'll tell you about that why also. But anyway, I had already purchased a Samsung S20, and the S20 had super stabilization for video photography. So I didn't need an action phone, actually. I wasn't going to be swimming underwater or tying it onto the side of a motorbike or anything like that. So my telephone would have been actually a far superior option because the camera, etc., is better for all the photographic and video aspects there. So that would be one way. If you've already got a phone or you're planning on buying a phone, the top models I know are quite expensive. So, but if you're going to buy a telephone, buy a good one, and it negates a lot of the problems you have. And I see a majority of YouTubers now making their YouTube videos with their mobile telephones. I also see some with these big SLRs or DSLRs or whatever they call them now, the big heavy cameras. They say because the photographic outcome is better, etc., etc. And that comes back to the BS aspect that I'm telling you about, because, who are you making the video for? You're making it for the general public, and you don't know what they're going to be looking at your video on, what equipment they're going to be using. It might be their mobile phones, it might be their tablets, it might be their computers, it might be their TVs. So the variation in the quality of the video doesn't really matter a damn, because they're not going to be getting the absolute perfect aspects anyway. So when I sit and listen to these people on YouTube, I think the blue's a bit better on the iPhone than it is in the Samsung, and I think the Samsung's a bit better, but hey, it's a waste of absolute energy to think about these things. Just get yourself something that makes a decent video and that you're happy with. If you put it online, you're putting it up to YouTube, YouTube's putting it down. You don't know what these people are looking at. So as long as it's reasonable quality, nobody's going to complain, I can assure you. So that's that. So you need a camera, and depending on the camera. The other good thing about my Samsung S20, in close proximity, the sound pickup on the phone was excellent. But I also did buy myself a wireless microphone that I could use with it as well. And once again, when you start buying accessories, it becomes expensive. I would strongly suggest you don't go down that line till you've made a couple of videos, posted a couple of videos, and then look at, okay, how am I going to enhance these? Do I want to enhance these, or are these okay? Because maybe you'll be happy. I think I went a bit over the top when I started, because I thought I'm really dedicated in this. And then I started to think, well, I'm going to go out, and I watched a couple of videos where people were flying drones, etc. And then I thought, yeah, I must have a drone someday. I must have a wireless microphone. And what else have I bought? I've bought all sorts of host of equipment here. But various poles for attaching my cameras to, so I can hold them and be comfortable with them, etc. All these things you need to sort out yourself. Once you get into YouTubing and making your videos, you will know what I mean, and you'll know the sort of things that you're interested in yourself, because it'll come naturally anyway. Going on from the equipment, that's where you certainly need to get started. Most importantly, I think you need a plan. You need a plan, one, when you're going to choose your channel name. If you choose too limited a channel name, like I see, for instance, people might call themselves Bangkok videos or something like that, or Pattaya videos, or then you're immediately kind of restricting yourself down to things to do with Bangkok or Pattaya or Thailand. Or if you're going back, like I called myself We Are Talk of Thailand. So in many ways, We Are Talk of Thailand restricts me to Thailand. But my introduction in We Are Talk of Thailand says that I talk about all things topical and typical. So many world-class things, including YouTube videos, are all topical. So I feel I can comfortably post on these sort of aspects here in Thailand also. But think about your name. That's important. When you go out to make a video, have a plan, what you want to do. Check your equipment. That's a big, big thing. I've had a few disasters in my time when I've gone out and I've done a couple of hours filming and come back and think I've done something wrong, whatever, and the 2 hours has been completely wasted. I've gone out with my drone, put my drone up in the air, followed it around. I've got some lovely video. I got some lovely scenes round about where I was going, what I wanted to take. Brought it back, landed the drone, took it all home, took the SD card out the drone, put it in the computer, and there's nothing there. Why? Because I'd forgot to start recording on the drone when it was in the air. Although I saw it all on my telephone, nothing was recorded. So these things happen. But not if you make yourself a little checklist out and you plan your video shoot. And I think that's an important aspect as well. The order you want to see it, you want to try and make it in a logical order, take it through logically, etc. And you'll make better videos. It comes with experience, don't get me wrong. I've not got a huge experience in the YouTube side, but as I explained in my last video, I used to do a lot of wedding videos, etc. And obviously those all had to be done in a logical sequence. And that was one of the reasons I was quite keen to take up the YouTube thing, because I found it interesting, enjoyable, and it seemed perfect for my retirement, actually. Now then, the other thing I want to talk about is editing videos. Now, there's all sorts of options. If you're taking your video on your telephone, there is apps that you can download to your telephone that you can edit your video on your telephone. And a lot of them are free. I think maybe most of them are free. And also for your computer, like I like to do everything here on my computer. Now, I've got several. I tried a couple of free ones out, and then when I was watching various YouTube videos about other paid for YouTube video editors, I thought I could see some advantages to some that I thought that would be nice to have. So what I done was I got the first one I purchased. I got a month's free trial on it, etc. There was restrictions. You can only do. You might have to download the video with a watermark or something, but it was good to try it out and find out the functionality of it. And the first one I got was Corel Video Studio 21. And I really enjoyed that. It was very simple to use. It had a lot of nice facilities to enhance your videos. And I probably used that for a good year or so. And then I upgraded myself to Cyberlink Power Director 365, which is an annual subscription thing. I think it cost me about, in dollars, about $90 a year, something like that. But it's it's a phenomenal piece of video editing. I think it's one of the best around. And not only that, but it gives you access to Shutterstock support, for instance, for music, for photographs, and also for video clips. So it's very handy for that, for getting additional assets to use in your video. Also, besides Shutterstock, Getty Images, it gives you access to a lot of them. Although Getty Images, there is also paid ones at the display as well that you can purchase at a discount, I think, if you buy them through PowerDirector. But going back, you might not need that, because it's just saying a lot of the gimmicks, etc., to the video editing that I'm using are really gimmicks. And for pure YouTube videos, you wouldn't want to be using a lot of them anyway. So maybe a standard free video editor would do excellent for you, depending on what you want to do. I think as you go on, you get more and more ambitious. I see it in many YouTube producers, creative producers, that they do get enhancements. They start getting more text effects and intro effects, etc. So they're obviously upgrading as they go along also. And I think it kind of gets you that way once you start getting into the hobby, which is a hobby for me. I'm not making any money out of it. But you still want to be producing stuff that you like to produce and think it looks okay. So that's it, the video editing side of it. So I think that's going to do for today. So the equipment we've covered, the planning we've talked about, and also the video editing, all aspects that you want to consider. And if you're going ahead, if you start making YouTube and uploading it, good luck, best wishes to you, and I hope it's very successful for you. Take care.